Thank you, comrades. What a humbling experience it is for me to lead the greatest combat veterans organization in the world. An organization of men and women who witnessed the honors of war, yet returned home more confident and much more compassionate human beings. An organization of family members who endured weeks, months, and collective years of 100% stress and anxiety while their loved ones were deployed. We are the Veterans of Foreign Wars of the United States and the VFW Auxiliary, and I am proud to shout from the rooftops that no one does more for veterans, service members, their families, than our great organization. No one. First off, I must mention a few folks who have touched my life both personally and professionally. I'd like to recognize past Commanders-in-Chief Big John Bajeski of Pennsylvania and Brian Duffy from Kentucky for their leadership, friendship, and mentorship. They took the time to care, to train, to mentor their successor. Thank you, comrades, and that tradition will certainly continue. To new Senior Vice Commander-in-Chief B.J. Lawrence from New Mexico and Junior Vice Commander-in-Chief Doc Smith of New York, my heartfelt congratulations to you both. Together, we will continue to build upon our 118-year-old pedigree of service to others. To new Auxiliary President Dee Guillory from Virginia and your line officers, thank you for what you do daily for veterans, service members, and their families everywhere. And to outgoing National President Colette Bishop, my heartfelt congratulations for leading the Auxiliary through another year of membership growth. I also want to thank both the Adjutant General and Quartermaster General for yours and your staffs in Kansas City and Washington for working closely together and clearing the way to continue our new One Vision, One Voice, One VFW initiative. Thank you for your continued support, loyalty, and service to our great organization. And to past Commander-in-Chief John Fergus of Tennessee, thank you, my friend, for installing me. John was my chief when I was the Ohio Department Commander for the 2004-2005 year. He called his state commanders the Tough Riders, a salute to former President and VFW member Teddy Roosevelt's Rough Riders. John's charge to us Tough Riders was to get up and over that San Juan hill called membership, something that we haven't done now for a quarter of a century, not since 1992 when Bob Wallace was chief. We didn't make it over that hill, but we came mighty close. 99.12%. I share that statistic because being 16,000 members short of our goal dropped our membership below 1.8 million members. And while we have since gotten smaller, the need for our programs and services have greatly expanded. This is why I have instructed my department commanders that we're going to charge up that San Juan Hill again, because membership is the lifeblood of our organization. And with that, I want to salute Montana for leading the world, Arizona for 50 straight years of growth, and the other 11 departments who also grew this year. The theme for my year is service, not self. Those three words represent the life that I've lived for more than 4 decades. Like many of you, my life to date has been a journey of experiences, and I just want to take this opportunity to share my story with you in hopes that you will share your story with others. As mentioned, I was a Huey crew chief and door gunner stationed in I Corps in Vietnam. I will admit to being somewhat bitter when I returned home, but that's changed, and here's why. This past March, I returned to Southeast Asia on a fact-finding mission to broaden my knowledge of America's full accounting mission and to learn more of America's security assistance missions overseas. The trip allowed me to meet many VFW members residing abroad, U.S. ambassadors, U.S. military assigned to our embassies in Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, and China. Landing in Da Nang was my first time back in 49 years. Back then, when I was greeted by mortar fire within 30 minutes of my arrival. This time, I was greeted by United States Army Lieutenant Colonel, who commanded Detachment 2 of the Defense POW-MIA Accounting Agency. We took a drive 2 hours west into the Central Highlands to meet up with an American-led recovery team that was excavating the side of a very steep hill where another young American soldier, a half a century earlier, was believed to be after his helicopter was shot down. 15 American servicemen and women and 2 civilian anthropologists, none of whom were born when that chopper went down, were digging to help bring a fellow American home to a family they didn't know, but have been waiting for 50 years for their son and brother to return home from his war. Those 17 Americans and all 700 assigned to the DPAA take this mission very personal. There, but for the grace of God, is a very powerful statement. But when I left Vietnam, I left my bitterness there as well. Like many of you, when I came home from my war, I immersed myself in work and family. Both of my parents were actively involved in the VFW, but I personally didn't join until 1983, thanks entirely to a very persistent brother-in-law, John Williams, and with the full encouragement of my loving wife, Mary Lou. Every success that I have had in the VFW starts with them, and then on my post, 3035 in Delphos, Ohio, for caring enough to give this young Vietnam veteran some free rein. Then District 2, the Department of Ohio, the Big Ten Conference, and now all of you for your confidence, encouragement, and support. Anyone who has ever risen to any level of leadership in this great organization did not do it alone. Aside from a very supportive family, there are a special few mentors that I've had and I'm indebted to, such as Ohio Past State Commander George Curley Miller and George Cox, as well as John Butler and Murray Griffin from my district. I am a member of several organizations, but the VFW is where my allegiance lies because of our camaraderie, a relevancy that spans generations, and our tremendous national legislative and veteran service work and our youth and community service programs. Every member of our organization has walked the talk, and every member of our auxiliary has lived the fear of having a loved one downrange. I believe in what the VFW stands for, taking care of veterans, service members, their families, and I'm proud to be a part of it and honored to lead it. Because of this camaraderie and the fact that the VFW does so much for so many without asking for anything in return, I'm often asked by potential members, what can the VFW do for them? My answer is always the same, nothing. We've already done it. A better question to ask is what can they do to help continue the VFW's mission of service to others? 16 years ago, no one would have thought it possible for America to fight a nonstop two-front war for so long without restarting the draft. But we have, they have, and they continue to do so magnificently, which is a testament to not only their patriotism, but also to their character. Our new military is the most powerful and most intelligent in history. But they don't know what the VFW brings to the fight because we don't brag enough. They don't know that our great organization was responsible for the passage of every military and veteran quality of life program created in this century and last. They don't know that the VFW has helped veterans recoup $7 billion in earned VA benefits to include $1.2 billion in new claims over this past year. That our VFW posts contribute nearly $50 million annually to support Veterans Community Service Project. That the VFW and Auxiliary donate nearly 9 million volunteer hours annually. That over the past 13 years, with the support of Burger King, almost $7.5 million in unmet needs financial assistance grants has helped more than 4,300 military and veterans families. And that we award approximately $3.3 million to some 170,000 middle and high school students participating in our Patriots Pin and Voice of Democracy competitions. With all that support and that with the support of Sports Clip, we have awarded more than $3.6 million in scholarships over the past 3 years to help more than 800 veterans and service members achieve a college degree. And what they really don't know is that we do it all for free. No membership is required. With all of those ongoing accomplishments and programs, why wouldn't every eligible service member and veteran want to be a part of a great big organization that does so many cool things for others? And the one reason is that we do not brag enough. Another is that we don't educate our military commanders and their senior enlisted advisors. In the military, nothing is important until your commander or first sergeant tells you that it's important. We need to maximize every opportunity to get on base and to not show up empty-handed. If you're fortunate enough to have a active duty or National Guard unit or reserve installation or unit in your backyard, you need to show your support through unit adoptions and by supporting annual Service Members of the Year awards. The power of recognition is contagious. Showing up at an annual awards banquet with a VFW plaque and dinner for two somewhere nice will get you the opportunity to tell our story, to brag on who we are, what we do, and who we do it for. And along with honoring the best of the best, you'll also be educating all of those current and future commanders and first sergeants about what we bring to the fight. It's your post. It's your programs. Just make sure that they know that you have their backs before shoving a membership application in their hands. And if they do join, please listen to them and act upon their suggestions, just like my post did to me many years ago. Very few things in life are worse than to be ignored. And for a membership organization to do that is the kiss of death. Another way posts can keep their members encouraged is by communicating with them either through print or electronic newsletters and by having up-to-date websites and Facebook pages. Communicating is essential to let our members know what your post is doing and how they can help, as well as to inform your community and hopeful potential members who want to be a part of something big, do something cool, and have their collective efforts recognized. The VFW touches lives every day through our great legislative work on Capitol Hill and in state legislatures around the country. By the great work our VFW service officers do for veterans, service members, and their families. Through our veterans and military assistance programs, unmet needs, and youth and veteran scholarships, and by being the go-to volunteer patriotic organization in our communities. Along with serving others, we have to crank up the volume to eliminate sequestration. Ending sequestration has been the VFW's top legislative priority ever since it failed in Congress in the Congressional Budget Agreement created in 2011. I have listened to our Washington office talk about the effects sequestration is having on today's military. I have read about it in the VFW magazine and other service magazines that I received. 2 years ago, I met with the United States officials and military assigned in Belgium and Germany. At every location, I asked what effect sequester was having upon their operations, and the answer was always the same that we were being told by the Washington office. Today's military is tired. They're tired of doing more with less. Less troops, less training, less equipment, and reduced quality of life programs. And just recently in Southeast Asia, budget uncertainty and the impact of 30 consecutive resolutions forced the Defense POW-MIA accounting agency to cancel planned excavations. Comrades, the world has not become a better or safer place in the 6 years since sequester was created. In fact, it is far more dangerous and definitely more unpredictable. That's why the VFW has to engage more loudly. Sequestration must end. If we can do that, every commander and first sergeant will know exactly what the VFW brings to the fight. Service, not self, is my theme because that's the person that I am. For nearly 25 years, I worked for Fruoff Trailer Company, and for 20 of those years, I was involved in their labor union. First as a union steward, then a member of our bargaining unit, and later as a union president. At each level, either I or we as a committee were there to represent our fellow union members, whether it be to arbitrate grievances, negotiate labor agreements to improve wages, benefits, and working conditions. It was always about what could be done in the best interest of our fellow workers. In July 1991, I made a career change and became a County Veteran Service Officer for the next 20 years. My philosophy didn't change. When a veteran or family member came into our office, it was all about them. How could we help? What could we do to make a difference in their lives? Which is exactly the same thing that our organization does. We make a difference. We touch lives every day. And we must continue to engage at the local level to encourage our posts to bring in mental health professionals and to open the doors to the community. Mental health is not a dirty word, and ignoring it can be devastating to families and communities. My support of veterans, service members, and their families is endless, as must be our organization's push to eliminate sequestration, to fully fund the Defense POW-MIA accounting agency, to demand better leadership, management, and accountability from the VA, and to help reduce the veteran suicide crisis to zero. In closing, I want to recognize my own personal VFW family, who I hope will continue to forgive me for missing ball games, birthdays, school activities, and just a simple quiet meal at home. My VFW comrade brother-in-law, John Williams, wasn't able to join us this week, but I'm so glad that his wife, Arlene, and daughter, Linda, are here with us, as my two sisters, Jan Jenkins and Sharon Carmine, and my daughter, Carrie, her husband, Brad, and their two children, Tanner and Tyler, and my son, Adam, and his three children, Zachary, Danielle, and Chase. 9 of those are all auxiliary life members. And last but certainly not least, the love of my life, my wife, and auxiliary life member, Mary Lou. Mary Lou, you and the kids have made this journey This is an incredible journey possible by your love, your encouragement, and most definitely by your support. 365 more days, you don't have to cut the grass anymore. Comrades, auxiliary members, and guests, we are one VFW, and I'm truly honored to lead you to a new year of service to others. Together, we will make a difference in the lives of others. Together, we will make the VFW stronger and more relevant inside the White House, the Pentagon, on Capitol Hill, and in every community across this great nation. And together, we will have fun doing it. May God continue to bless our veterans, our service members and families, and our United States of America. Thank you.